All right, let's have a look at multiplying algebraic fractions. All that fancy word means is that I've got two fractions with algebra, like pronumerals in them, and I'm multiplying them. So we're going to do the numbers first. And in our question, when we're multiplying two fractions, we multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. So we're just going to go across the top and we're going to end up with a new fraction. So let's create a fraction. Do the numbers first. 3 times 4 gives me 12 on the top. The numbers on the bottom are 10 and 6, so I multiply them to 60. Now I'm going to put the letters back in alphabetical order. So if I have a look, I've got X and Y in my multiplication, but the Y has a squared, like a number 2 in its index, so I've got 2 Y's in that. Across the bottom, my letters are Y multiplied by X, but if I put them in alphabetical order, I've got XY. All right, we've done the multiplication, but there's just one little step to tidy it up a little bit, and that is to, first of all, we're going to see if these numbers simplify, the 12 over 60. So let's pull up a calculator, and I'm going to show you we can use the calculator's fraction feature to actually do our simplification for us. Okay, I've got a 12 over 60. If I create that in the calculator, just focusing on these numbers first, it equals, that simplifies down to 1 over 5. So I could rewrite that now as 1 over 5. On the top, I'm looking for any letters that are the same on the top and bottom that I can cancel out. Well, I can see these X's are the same on the top and the bottom. So if the same letter is on the top and the bottom, it can cancel itself out. I've got a Y squared on the top and a Y on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel one Y from the bottom, and I'm going to take one of these Y's away. There were 2 of them, but we cancelled one from the bottom, so I have to cancel one from the top. And what I'm left with on the top now, in terms of letters, is just the one Y. Nothing's on the bottom, it's all been cancelled out. In algebra, if there's an invisible 1 in front, there's a 1 in front of our letter, it's invisible. So all of that simplifies down to Y over 5. Okay, and that's basically the answer we got here. Just walk you through the process. I might pause for a second, give you guys a couple of extra ones to have a go at. Alright, so here's another one for you guys to have a go at. I'm going to get you to pause the video for a second, see if you can do this multiplication. I'll put up the solution in a second. Alright, let's walk you through the solution. Do the numbers first across the top. 4 times 7 is there's my 28. 3 times 2 is where the 6 comes from. The letters, I've got M's and P's, so I'll put them in alphabetical order. There were 2 M's here and 1 M here. That's where the 3 comes from. And there was 1 P. So on the top, I've got 28 M cubed P. On the bottom, I've done my numbers to get 6. There is 2 M's, in other words, M squared, and there are 3 P's. I've put 28 over 6 into my calculator, and it's simplified down to this, the 14 over 3. Now I've got 3 M's on the top, 2 on the bottom. So if I take 2 from the bottom, I have to take 2 from the top. So my 3 comes down to 1. So there's none left on the bottom. There's 1 M left on the top. With the P's, if I take 1 from the top, I've got to take 1 from the bottom. So my 3 comes down to a 2 because I took 1 away. So on the top now I have 14 M. On the bottom I have 3 P squared. All right, hope you got that. Good job, well done.